And we decided that we were just going to do a podcast for our own mental health so we could just talk for a while. And 2, because we feel like we can share a lot of valuable information when it comes to business. So the first episode is going to be a lot about our background, probably, just to let everyone know who we are, what we've done, I guess to give us some validity to what we're talking about. And then, I don't know, you shared with me a tidbit, which I want to lead with, which how many podcasts fail?
Yeah, so just kind of a statistic I heard somebody say, didn't fact check it, don't beat me up, but something like 90% of podcasts don't make it to episode 3 or past episode 3. And then of that remaining 10% that was there, 90% of those don't make it past episode 20.
Wow. So 1% of podcasts make it past episode 20.
Yeah. I'll trust your math.
Yeah. Well, if there's 100 people.
Yep.
And 90% stop.
Yep.
So that means 10 people are left. And then of those, 90% stop. So one person's left. Yep. So why don't you start with a little bit of background on you? Because I feel like majority of people watching this are going to know a little bit about me. Sure. And they're probably not going to know anything about you.
Okay. Well,
let's go all the way back to college or to high school.
Oh,
yeah.
Nah, that's too much to unpack. I was an angsty little kid. Single mom, grew up with her. Love my mom. Had to move, kind of make a change. Wasn't making some great decisions, so I joined the Army. Was in the Army for a little while. I don't know. I feel weird talking about myself.
He likes to gloss over this. He is an Army Ranger.
Former. Or whatever you say now.
Okay. After the Army?
After the Army, moved back home for a little while. Was here, did some work on Tyndall Air Force Base. They had a thing I was qualified to do in the military, basically handle explosives. Sounds cool. Literally, it was handling them. If anything cool happened, I wouldn't be here. So it had to do with luggage and scanning and stuff that was going on at that time. So basically, I just put a bag in one side of the machine and took it out of the other side of the machine for a little while. But it was a cool job. Exposed me to a lot of cool people. Made some cool contacts. After that, I went overseas for a little while and did some work over in the Middle East. Kind of, again, stuff I was qualified to do because of the Army. And came home. And I don't know. I feel weird going long-winded on myself. Sorry. I'm gonna need practice.
You dabbled in a bunch of different stuff. So when did the I don't really know. When did you had a landscaping business, you had a trash business, and then you had your Sonics. Like how did that all happen?
So my wife and I had a gym for a number of years. We started Panhandle CrossFit. We opened in 2009. Kind of moved all around Panama City. It was super fun. During that time, did a bunch of stuff with CrossFit. Participated in an organization they called The Grid for a little while. Very CrossFit-esque, if you guys haven't heard of it.
I mean, you were a professional CrossFit athlete.
They paid me money to pick up barbells. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it was fun. Don't get me wrong. It was a ton of fun. But, we had our first kid, and that kind of was shocking. I was like, oh, man, kids are going to be expensive. I was really, worried about paying for college, paying for a car, paying, whatever. So a personal training client of mine at the time decided we would start a landscaping business. Really, he wasn't, I was running the day-to-day business. He did the back end stuff. So he had other businesses. He was in call centers and a couple other things. And, I didn't know how to run a business, but I knew how to sell and I knew how to get people going. So we had US Lawns going we opened that in late 2016, built that business up to a decent size. And then Hurricane Michael hit here in October of 2018, and that business and my gym went to zero. Tyndall Air Force Base closed. Both hospitals closed. The town was wrecked. We were without power for weeks. I sent my family over to Destin because they didn't need to be here. It looked like a war zone. And, hung in there, didn't have power, basically would wake up early when the sun came up. I had to transition. I kind of glossed past the part. US Lawns did not have any revenue because they were a landscape maintenance company.
Right.
And there was no landscaping to maintain. Everything blew away, and it was October too. So even if they had some grass to cut, code enforcement wasn't going to bother them. Nobody was probably living at their properties anyways, even these large multifamilies. So I transitioned into storm cleanup. People think it's an easy transition, but it's not. I had no employees. They left. They had nowhere to live. I had no equipment that was useful. I had lawnmowers. Those don't do anything to trees. I had weed whackers and stuff, right?
Yeah, I think people realize, one, what the devastation of Hurricane Michael looked like, because even in a more populated area where that hurricane hit down in South Florida, they talk about it for like a week on the news, and then everyone's like forgot about it unless you live there.
Right.
And I mean, we still, to this day, I pass buildings that have tarps on the roof, and we're like 5 years removed from Hurricane Michael.
That's wild.
That they still haven't got everything fixed. I know it took a year for my parents to get a new roof. I'm sure there's people that took even longer. I know most people were living in RVs outside their house for like 2 years. But so you pivoted into this storm cleanup situation with U.S. Lawns.
That's right. So U.S. Lawns basically, we had a couple trucks, right? So I guess if you want to say we had an advantage, we had a couple of trucks, but we had no employees. They all left. They had nowhere to live. We wound up finding a guy who was able to labor broker some folks, some guys from Puerto Rico that had dealt with a hurricane. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name of that one.
Oh yeah.
But they had
Maria or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. They had some experience, but then they had nowhere to stay. So we had to figure out how to get RVs when everybody had bought all the RVs already, and how to get them here and where we could put them. And it took a little while, but we were able to get a storm cleanup company going. Scared as hell the whole time everything was going to topple. And went to work, started making some money.
And then when did the Sonics come after that?
So we got the work to clean up the Sonics. We were maintaining the Sonics before the storm. And that's when, basically after the storm, we were able to get Sonic Drive-In open so fast here that the operating partner, Chris, and I and my partner with U.S. Lawns, we're all kind of like sitting there going, well, how much money does something like this make, And so how much does it cost to build and da-da-da. And, we were able to kind of get involved with the Sonic organization in a long and kind of roundabout way. I need to figure out a better way to tell this story, but...
Yeah. So from my understanding, the Sonic organization was kind of like, you can't open franchises in Panama City.
Oh, well, right. No,
so you could go to Louisiana and buy some existing ones?
No, well, so that's good question. So we found a different brand. We found Slim Chickens.
Right.
Chris was the operating partner of all the Sonics here in Panama City, but he wasn't the owner. The owner, lives in Wyoming or something. We all got together. He was going to be the operating partner. I was going to do the development and kind of scale the company. And my other two business partners, again, were going to do the back end business stuff, help us keep a hold of the money, all that good stuff. And so we, jump through all the hoops, all the franchise hoops. We get near the finish line, and Slim Chickens is like, you guys are too new. We're too new. Like, both the brand is too new and us as a group is too new. We are only going to license, franchisees that have existing stores. So we're like, shit, we don't have any stores. What do we do? And a long, complicated story. We basically found a guy in Louisiana who had some, and he wanted to sell the land and the business. Well, we didn't have enough money for the land and the business, so we were able to, it's a program called the Sale Leaseback Program, but we were basically able to find a developer with some cash that would play like short-term close. We, with their money, would buy the real estate and the business, take over the business, sign a lease to the real estate itself, and then sell the land out from under us to get the capital back.
Yeah, so essentially they use the lease as a way to sell the land, because
right.
Essentially it's
Cap
like,
rate.
yeah, we know like, hey, this business is here, they're going to be paying this much. So,
That's right.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, we were able to sign a slightly higher rent per month.
Yeah, I don't want to gloss that over because I feel like this is a really interesting thing that a lot of people don't understand in business. And that is you can build a facility, sign a lease, and sell the land out from underneath you for capital if you need it. And it's kind of like this whole idea of like, I don't know, it's like buying an apartment complex that's already fully rented out. You know the cash flow, you know how long you're going to get this guaranteed cash flow. Thus, you can get more money than if it was an empty apartment complex. So filling up an apartment complex and selling it is like, you know, more money involved rather than saying, hey, this is the potential. Because when you're selling something on a potential, people aren't willing to give you as much money because they've got to fill it up. There's going to take time for them to get it filled up. You know, you've already vetted the tenants, you have fully leased out. They're going to give you more money for it because they can just walk in and take it over.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And so them being established businesses, you know, I came into it just basically trying to solve this guy's pain. He wanted to sell them. He had kids, but they were a little far away from it. And I mean, truthfully, they probably grew up with money. I don't know. They just weren't running them right. So we saw that we could improve the books. So we saw, you know, we had a business plan in place where we could get these restaurants. We knew we could improve the books. We looked at the traffic counts. We went over there and watched the flow, watched how it, you know, the customer experience, all that stuff. So we were pretty confident that we were going to be able to knock it out of the park. And what we were able to do was basically sign a slightly higher lease with that land and sell it. Higher, I say higher in that if we'd gone and got a mortgage and, you know, put 20-25% down, went through the SBA, stuff like that. Well, yes, we'd pay less, but it would take a long time for us to get that 25% back.
Yeah.
Right. So we wanted speed. We were going to buy the market, expand as fast as possible, you know, and put off a payday for later.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, obviously, if you can own the land and the building, it's a better deal in the long term. But if you're trying to move quickly, you don't want to tie up your capital. You want to be able to have your capital to make moves. And y'all had 7 Sonic?
So we acquired 4 Sonics.
Okay.
We successfully built 1 and had 2 more in some form of construction.
Okay. And then Slim Chickens was like, okay, now you're good to go.
Yeah, so we got those. Basically, once we had got those, it did not take very much longer. I can't think of the time off the top of my head. And yeah, we were up there.
Within
Arkansas,
like 6 months or so?
Yeah,
you were able to start building a Slim Chickens?
Within 6 months, we were, we did all this during like discovery with Slims. So we were able to take these down, become Slim Chickens franchisees. We didn't get the one built during that time. It took construction time. But then... yeah, we bought a piece of dirt right down the street and went to work on Slim Chickens.
Yeah, Slim Chickens was actually built, I want to say probably just a couple of months before Letty was born, because you actually brought Slim Chickens to the hospital. So it was still a weird time for the hospital because like COVID protocols, I could only have me and one guest, which was my mom, that would come with there. So in the food situation they weren't doing their cafeteria. Like there was all that stuff was shut down.
Well, you know, nobody knew anything about it at that time. Whatever, however you feel about it's how you feel about it. But nobody knew what to do at that time. I mean, even the hospital, look, they were weird. We had just opened. I was trying to bring the nurses food, and the nurses were very appreciative, but the hospital acted like I had tried to
poison everyone.
I don't know.
Yeah. So
not going to touch that.
All right. So roundabout way, that's all the stuff you've done. You exited from all those companies.
That's right.
And now you are Team Fat and Weird.
That's right. Yeah. Happy to be here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It got stressful at the end. You know, the partner group, I didn't come up with this saying, but you know, I use it all the time, and it's easy until you start making money.
Yeah.
When you're in the struggle together, you know, when you're struggling together, it's easy. I say it's easy. It's hard work. I don't know. You have a focus. We started making money, and
people started doing dumb shit.
They start wanting to put the money in their pocket instead of putting it back into the business, executing the business plan. There's all kinds of infighting. It's silly, man. Yeah. It got silly. It can be great. I've also had it. I mean, I've also have had other business partners that are great. So
yeah. So I think that's one of the things that, you know, background on Fat and Weird, like you've obviously seen it. Adam and I have been friends for a long time. I would say that we knew who each other were like in high school, and even when I was in the military, he had started a little clothing brand when he was lifting called Kilo Pounds, and I remember messaging him, and he sent me some knee sleeves and stuff. So like we were, friends by proximity. It's really friends via fitness, I think then. And then when I moved back here, because it's really hard to find people that are like-minded to you. Adam and I just kind of like kindled a friendship again. And I think that's an important thing to relay to people. Like if you really, really want to do good things in life, then you need to find really good friends. Because,
well, that's saying whatever, some of the 5 people you spend the time with, and so.
Well, I think that's the hard part. When people hear that, they go, well, how do I find 5 other people that are like motivated like me? I don't think they have to necessarily be in person. I think you can have friends on the internet.
Sure.
I think you can follow people that are motivational to you, but I would argue you probably need at least a couple in person.
You
need people to look up to that inspired you to do things that are
outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, outside your comfort zone. But then truthfully, man, I think the world would be better if you had a couple people in your corner to go, hey, no, knock that shit off. Like whatever it is, being bad, will you like,
That's not helping you get to where you want to go. Stop.
Yeah. Don't be that way, know?
Yeah. So with Fat and Weird, the growth, Aubrey and I obviously didn't take any money out. We built this massive facility with all of the money. And we bought a lot of equipment. I know we have a lot of money in equipment downstairs.
We need to make a video. I talked to Eastman about it. We need to make a funny video. Like instead of driving a Lamborghini, we're just like sitting in the bagging machine.
Oh, like drive the forklift around. And,
stunting and sitting on the bagging machine.
Yeah. We could,
prayer hands.
I could ride on the VMAG.
Prayer hands.
We could push the VMAG around. I could ride on that.
Yeah.
We could put the guillotine on it. It'll be like it looks like a battering ram coming out there. So I built Fat and Weird, I guess, for foundationally. And when we came to, which a lot of people don't know, we got an offer to sell Fat and Weird in November, late October, early November. Going through the course of it, was supposed to close by December 1st, like 4 days out. It kind of falls through literally while we're in Montana for Thanksgiving. It kind of falls apart. And I remember texting Adam because we had talked a lot about business then. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do because my plans for Fat and Weird via this other company, because I was going to stay on, I was still going to have equity, was to like push hard into wholesale. And, when we started lining the stuff out, I was just like, I can't do this alone. And Adam's like, he Liam Neeson to me. He said, I have a very particular set of skills.
There you go.
And he's like, I'm not good at everything, but there's some things I'm really good at.
Sure.
And I said, well, let's talk. And he just started hanging out Fat and Weird every day, and now he's part of the team.
I'm here, man. You feed stray dogs, man, they stay around. You gotta be careful.
But no, it's a really exciting thing that you get to work on growing a business with your friend.
Hell yeah.
It's a fun opportunity that we have
to
do.
Cookies, bro.
Yeah. And I definitely think that it's nice. Aubrey and I have done everything alone up to this point. It's nice to have like other people that like care as much as you do. Because the truth is, if you own your own business and someone doesn't have a stake in it, they're never going to care as much as you. And I would argue that I don't think anyone's ever going to care as much as me and Aubrey just because like we started it all. Like it's our child. Yeah. Everyone else kind of came in and, they're like, that's my God kid, but at the end of the day, you're going to care the most. But it is nice that when I'm stressed about something, I can unload that onto someone else and they're like, yeah, man, we got this.
I feel what you're saying. And not just I hear what, it's different.
Yeah. It's like men, it's like when your wife tells you something, they just want to be validated on their feelings. Let's see if Aubrey shakes her head. She didn't say anything, but you're just like, yeah, I understand. I feel it.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I don't know, whatever. It's important to dudes too. It's super exciting. Happy to grow. I like the struggle. I like complicated problem solving. I think it's cool as hell that it's cookies. One thing I learned, of course I like building businesses and making money and stuff like that. But with the food stuff, something about feeding people, man. Like I didn't realize, but it's like, walking around and hey, you enjoying yourself? And people are like, yeah. And they're different when they're happy, food happy. It's a different feeling.
Yeah, I think that's the point I brought up, like why I wanted to build a storefront. So many people are like, why did you build a storefront? Like you could have easily built a pickup kind of thing, like for local pickups. Like you didn't have to build a full-on storefront that you have like an employee like staff it, And I said, when I started Fat and Weird, I got a lot of joy out of the initial reviews of the cookies because it was so new. Everyone wanted to talk about it. So people would send videos like, oh my gosh, this cookie's so good. And I still light up when people are like, oh, I shared my cookie with someone and they said it's the best cookie they've ever had.
Yeah.
But the actually getting to like see people come in and eat the cookie and the joy and excitement.
Seeing little kids eating the cookies, man. It's like, oh.
Yeah. So like that, it's just a different level. So yeah, I think a lot of building the storefront was really about kind of a little bit about like for my own.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of there's a lot of rewards.
Yeah.
There's monetary rewards, but then there's, heart rewards, mental health, rewards. So yeah.
It just felt nice to be able to like have a place that I can like see people actually come in and enjoy the cookies.
For sure.
So what are you most excited about for the future of Fat and Weird?
Oh man, really just seeing the brand out there more, dude. Like, I mean, I know that we're popular. I know people know about us, but there's that level. And then there's like, I mean, we're going to be in grocery stores. We're going to be people, eyes that are going to see us that, I mean,
I think it's going to be a very cool feeling to like walk into a grocery store and be like, I made this in my facility too. It's not like someone else made it somewhere and shipped it to me. Like I literally, I ordered, like my team ordered the ingredients. My team made this product.
My wife and I literally had a conversation about that last night about, literally, I was saying how cool it is that it's not just like a licensing play or a white label play or something like that where, hey, look, like you're saying, my brand is on the package. It's like, no. From the raw ingredient to the packaging itself to all but the truck that drove it to the store, we did. Man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I know it's going to sound really silly, but I'm like, that's from my house.
Yeah.
Literally, people know we live
Willy
above
Wonka.
we live above the cookie facility.
Cool.
So it's like, that came from my house to this grocery store, which is a really cool feeling, to like.
From our oven to yours.
Yeah. Or from our
home to from our home to yours, whatever.
From our home to yours. That would not be a lie.
Tagline.
Yeah.
Love it.
So Christian is our sales reps in the room right now.
Hi,
so hopefully I'm not saying anything I'm not allowed to say, but, it sounds like Myers is going to be like the first place.
You can always just go boop
That we're moving
over
into.
top of it, right? Christian shaking said yes.
Yeah. So Myers sounds like this first location that we're going to roll out into, which is, really exciting. I think there's some other people on their heels, that want to do some white labeling. So essentially if you see a stuffed gourmet cookie out there, we probably made it. Mm-hmm. Even if it doesn't say Fat and Weird on it.
Well, if you taste it and it's good, we definitely made it. If it's trash, somebody else made it.
Yeah.
All our cookies are delicious. So
yeah. All right. Well, I think that's about all I got.
That's all I got. Yeah. So, I'll get less awkward or I won't. I'm not sure as this goes on. Probably won't. I don't watch myself on video very much.
I think I should just give you a fidget spinner. I feel like you just need something to do with your hands.
I just don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
Ricky Bobby.
But no, I feel like you need a fidget spinner because you like messing with that.
10 fidget spinners. One for each finger.
Yeah, we'll get you a bunch of fidget spinners and we'll have this all under control. Mm-hmm. So that's a little, the first episode is, the backstory about Adam, his origin story. Because he's a big comic fan as well.
I do.
Believe it or not, you look at him and you wouldn't think that he was a nerdy guy, but he knows a lot about the comic books. That's for sure.
Yep.
So this was the origin story of Adam, and next week I guess we could do a brief origin story on me, but I feel like most people already know that, but maybe they don't. Maybe Adam's going to have a lot of people watching, and they won't know anything about Brad. So,
hi, Mom.
So hope you enjoyed this. We're going to throw it up on YouTube, and then we'll probably cut some parts down. So comment down below if there's something you want us to talk about. Adam is very knowledgeable in real estate. Maybe he'll tell you about the story about how he met Grant Cardone and hung out at Grant Cardone's house. He also obviously has done a lot in the business world as well, exited multiple businesses for 7 figures. So, there's a little bit of business knowledge behind here. I wouldn't say we know the most, but we know enough to be dangerous. So comment down below if you have any questions and you want to hear anything else on this kind of like business podcast. Share this with a friend that could use some motivation. We can be 2 people's friends out of the 5, so they only got to find 3 more. Subscribe if you haven't. You're worth it.